Music legends grow older, but their legacy never does. These women weren't just singers, they shaped genres, broke records, and influenced entire generations of artists. In 2025, they stand as powerful symbols of talent, resilience, and timeless impact. Today we look at the iconic female singers whose voices changed music forever. Debbie Boone, 69 years old. Known for "You Light Up My Life," she became one of the most recognizable voices of the late 70s, with a career built on purity and emotional depth. Belinda Carlisle, 67 years old. The Go-Go's lead singer who dominated the 80s with her solo hits, becoming a defining pop voice of her era. Bonnie Tyler, 74 years old. Her raspy powerhouse vocals made Total Eclipse of the Heart an eternal classic and cemented her rock icon status. Gloria Estefan, 68 years old. A global Latin pop pioneer whose voice introduced Cuban rhythm to mainstream American music. Dayne, 63 years old. A dance pop queen of the late 80s, known for her commanding voice and chart-dominating hits. Madonna, 67 years old. The undisputed Queen of Pop, reinventing herself for 4 decades and setting the blueprint for modern pop stardom. Vanessa Paradis, 53 years old. A French music and film icon whose unique voice defined European pop in the 90s. Anne Murray, 80 years old. Her smooth, warm tone made her one of the most successful Canadian artists in history. Pat Benatar, 72 years old. A fierce rock vocalist whose attitude and voice shaped 80s rock culture. Melissa Manchester, 74 years old. A Grammy-winning singer-songwriter known for her emotional ballads and soft rock excellence. Sheena Easton, 66 years old. The Scottish star who broke through globally with hits across pop, R&B, and adult contemporary. Grace Jones, 77 years old. A music and fashion revolutionary whose avant-garde style changed pop culture forever. Marilyn McCoo, 82 years old. A soulful vocalist from the fifth dimension, admired for decades of smooth and elegant performances. Kylie Minogue, 57 years old. The Australian pop powerhouse whose career longevity rivals global superstars. Lennox, 71 years old. A vocal legend from Eurythmics known for her unmatched emotional intensity. Janet Jackson, 59 years old. An R&B and pop icon who redefined choreography, fashion, and production in the music industry. Alannah Myles, 67 years old. Best known for Black Velvet, a song that solidified her as a blues rock powerhouse. Geri Halliwell, 53 years old. The former Spice Girl, whose bold personality helped shape 90s pop culture. Enya, 64 years old. A mystical New Age legend whose atmospheric sound remains globally unique. Faith Hill, 58 years old. One of country music's most successful vocalists, blending mainstream and traditional styles. Vanessa Williams, 62 years old. A multi-talented singer and actress known for her smooth R&B vocals. Maureen McGovern, 76 years old. Known for her powerful Broadway-influenced voice and classic soundtrack performances. Sophie B. Hawkins, 61 years old. A soulful singer-songwriter known for emotional, genre-blending hits. Carol Decker, 68 years old. T-Pow's lead vocalist whose 80s success still resonates today. Amanda Lear, 86 years old. A disco icon with a charismatic deep voice and a career stretching over decades. Lisa Stansfield, 59 years old. A British soul pop singer famous for her distinct tone and emotional delivery. Melanie Brown, 50 years old. Scary Spice and one of the boldest personalities of the Spice Girls era. Jody Watley, 66 years old. A Grammy-winning R&B and dance artist whose style shaped 80s pop. Paula Cole, 57 years old, known for her expressive songwriting and introspective vocal style. Shania Twain, 60 years old, the best-selling female country artist of all time, a global crossover legend. Paula Abdul, 63 years old,
a pop star and choreographer whose creativity changed 80s and 90s music videos. Natalie Imbruglia, 49 to 50 years old, approximately. A 90s pop star whose soft vocal style made her instantly recognizable. Toni Braxton, 58 years old. A deep-voiced R&B queen known for timeless emotional ballads. Cyndi Lauper, 72 years old. A quirky, bold pop icon behind some of the biggest 80s anthems. Jane Wiedlin, 67 years old. Go-Go's founding member, known for her unique tone and songwriting. Bassa, 71 years old. A jazz pop vocalist known for her smooth, internationally loved style. Bonnie Wright, 76 years old. A blues rock legend with a soulful voice and unmatched guitar skill. Kim Wilde, 65 years old. Known for her 80s pop classics and iconic cool girl image. Martika, 56 years old. A late 80s pop singer known for powerful, expressive vocals. Chrissie Hynde, 75 years old. The lead singer of The Pretenders and a defining voice of rock. Lisa Lisa, 58 years old, a freestyle and R&B pioneer who shaped 80s dance music. Victoria Beckham, 51 years old, Posh Spice, fashion icon, and part of the best-selling girl group in history. Whitney Houston died at 48 years old, one of the greatest vocalists ever. Her influence is unmatched. Susanna Hoffs, 66 years old. The Bangles' signature voice, known for her soft, melodic style. Mariah Carey, 56 years old. The vocal queen of melisma, whistle notes, and record-breaking Christmas dominance. Tina Turner died at 83 years old. A powerhouse performer whose energy and resilience defined rock. Debbie Gibson, 55 years old. A teen pop songwriter-producer who achieved rare success at a young age. Sade Adu, 66 years old, a smooth jazz and soul icon famous for her velvet soft voice. Diana Ross, 81 years old, a Motown legend whose influence spans 6 decades. Donna Summer died at 63 years old, the queen of disco whose voice dominated an entire era. Regina Belle, 61 years old, a soulful vocalist known for heartfelt R&B classics. Tiffany, 54 years old, an 80s teen star remembered for her chart-topping pop energy. Terry Nunn, 66 years old, the voice of Berlin, known for iconic synth-pop hits. Siobhan Fahey, 67 years old, a founding member of Bananarama and Shakespeare's sister. Melanie Thornton died at 34 years old, a powerful Europop voice whose life ended tragically early. Samantha Fox, 59 years old, a pop star whose bold image and voice made her an 80s sensation. Emma Bunton, 49 years old, Baby Spice, known for her soft, sweet vocal tone. Anni-Frid Lyngstad, 80 years old, one of ABBA's legendary voices with global influence. Olivia Newton-John died at 73 years old, a pop country icon and Grease superstar with a gentle vocal style. Sanita, 62 years old, an 80s pop favorite linked with the rise of SAW hit machine music. Laura Branigan died at 52 years old, the powerful voice behind Gloria, known for her emotional strength. These women didn't just perform, they transformed music. Some continue creating, some stepped away, and some left the world too soon. But every one of them carved a chapter in music history that still echoes today. Legends age, voices mature, and eras change, but true impact never fades.